I do not fear the man that can speak 1,000 words once. I fear the man that can speak one word 1,000 times.
All right, hello YouTube, Derek Shoehorn here for Life Advice. I'm delighted to be joined once again this week by Dr. Pam Landesman, Global Mentor. But there is a little bit of bad news. I know a lot of you were looking forward to Ant Middleton joining the show this week. We made the announcement on Twitter the day after he lost his job with SAS Who Dares Wins on Channel 4. We swooped in, he agreed to be on the show, and now he's just not shown up, and he's not answering my calls, and I don't know what's going on. It's okay. We're going to keep going. We're going to plow through. And who needs a tribute act when you got the real thing? We got the doc with us, and that's all we need.
Thank you, Derek. I mean, that means a lot, but you've got to go a long way to quell the pain of missing out on Ant. I mean, I'm a huge fan of SAS Who Dares Wins. I'd honestly say it's my favorite documentary about processing childhood trauma on mainstream TV right now. And it's just, I'd have loved to have had the whole set, you know. He's actually the last cast member of SAS Who Dares Wins that I've yet to meet. I ran a small youth theatre in Birmingham back in the 70s, and all the boys were there. I remember Mark Billy Billingham was a particularly effective Dick Whittington in our Christmas panel. Talented boy.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you ran youth theatre groups. But yeah, I don't think we'll be getting Ant Middleton back on. I know that you like him. I know you're a huge fan. I was a huge fan until this afternoon when he didn't answer my call, and now I hate the guy. And I bet you anything, he's probably just at home with his feet up, you know, doing handstand push-ups.
I feel like there's been a spate of this recently. I've just only in January, Diego just blew straight past his annual checkup. I always like to keep an eye on his knees. They've always been a vulnerable part of his arsenal, and it's just a great shame that you missed out. Just exactly like Ant, just no contact at all. Sorry, go on.
You're not talking about Diego Maradona there, are you?
Diego Maradona, the one and only.
Doc, I thought you knew he passed last year.
Diego?
All right, well, I've got a question for you, Doc, that a viewer has sent in. He addressed it to you specifically. I guess he just knew a little bit about your reputation, but I also thought that it was a good one for you because it's about a topic which I hope you don't mind me saying, but I know that you yourself have suffered a little bit with this in the past, the topic of sleep talking in your sleep. I know this is something that you've been afflicted with, Doc, so shall I just read you out the question and you can take a crack at it?
Go right ahead. Go right ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Dear Dr. Pam Landesman, I desperately require your mentorship. If I don't get mentored soon, I don't know what might happen. My problem is I recently bought a super yacht costing £430 million to accompany my pre-existing £1 billion super yacht. Ever since the purchase went through, my security detail tells me I've been talking in my sleep, sometimes for the whole 8 hours, and always mentioning Andrei Shevchenko. I'm worried that if allowed to continue, this might somehow cost me money. Can you recommend a cure? Love and respect, Roman Abramovich.
Yeah, every problem has been solved before by someone bigger, better, and brighter than yourself. And on this occasion, the person who's bigger, better, and brighter is me. Many years ago, I had Sleep Spoke, it was called then, for around 30 years before I was properly diagnosed. I actually didn't realize I was doing it until I was told by a succession of beautiful women. What I'd like to recommend is this. It's called sprint sleeping. Now, sleeping can be seized in pockets of no more than 4 minutes throughout the day, and it ensures the maximum value of sleep contained within each sleep pocket. Only the most gifted sprint sleepers would be able to go straight in at the top level. I would recommend warming up by simply running extremely quickly into a hard object. Possibly a wall might be the most freely available. Most domestic households nowadays have walls available that you could run into. And as long as they're heavy to knock you clean out.
If I could just stop you there, that is a great point you make, and I don't want us to fly by that. The wall does have to be solid. I tried it once in my old place. The walls were too thin, and I ended up in my neighbor's bathroom. So I wouldn't recommend that at all.
Of course, the giveaway phrase in Roman's question was that term whole 8, the idea of whole 8 hours. In fact, when I heard it first, I was a little bit baffled. It's been so long since I spent 8 hours in a row sleeping that I wasn't quite sure what he meant. I later deduced that he must have been talking about being asleep for an entire night. That would be something which we term sleeping like a baby. And babies are idiots. That's no way to sleep. You're wasting your time. And that's evidenced by the pure fact of the sleep talk. It's bubbling up because your brain has nothing else to occupy itself during that period. It's important to shorten that period to, as I say, a maximum of 4.5 minutes at a time. You could use sprint sleeps while queuing on a domestic flight or maybe on a phone conversation with a relative. You need to stay focused on your sleep. Sleep is the most important thing, apart from being awake, and it requires on one key thing: total concentration. Think of weightlifting. The weightlifter in the midst of a clean and jerk would not break off and use one hand to embark on a Sudoku. We would see that and think of that as a frippery while he was engaged in such a process. Similarly, while sleeping, one should plow all of one's efforts into the simple, basic building block of sleep, nothing else. The fact that information is leaking from your mouth is a bad sign, and you should quell it immediately. If you speak 2 languages, that is 2 opportunities to sleep talk any of your industrial secrets or Wi-Fi passwords that you want to keep close to your chest. So I would pare down your vocabulary to ideally fewer than 100 words in just one language.
That's a great piece of advice, Doug. And I'm assuming he speaks both Russian and English. Those are his 2 languages. So which of those 2 would you recommend dropping?
You need to ditch Russian as quickly as possible.
But is there anything else you want to finally add for Roman, Doc?
Oh, there was just one thing that stood out. He mentioned buying his second super yacht. And I just wanted to make it clear to him, don't be embarrassed about that at all, Roman. It happens to all of us. I remember last week I was in the supermarket, bought a little packet of cashew nuts, got home, opened the cupboard. What's sitting there staring right at me? A little packet of cashew nuts. I already had some, and I'd absent-mindedly double purchased. It happens to the best of us. Really don't worry at all. It's not embarrassing. All I'd advise is maybe you could use your second super yacht in the same way that I use my second packet of cashews and just pop it in the garden for the birds.
Great stuff, Doc. That is fantastic advice. And Roman, I really hope that's helped.
Sleep sprint, micro doses of sleep, no more than 4.5 minutes at a time. And one final point, if that really doesn't work out for you, it's possible to go sleepless, although I'd only recommend it in the most extreme of cases. I experimented with going sleepless once. It was 1939, and there were 1 or 2 unexpected consequences that it took me several years to correct after a couple of sleep sprints when I got my strength back.
I think that's about it. I think we covered everything there. I mean, I would maybe add that you could try walking extremely fast whenever you have to walk anywhere, just short of a run. That doesn't cure sleep talking, but it does reduce the volume of your voice while you're doing it. So that could help. But other than that, I think we're just about done. I think that's covered everything. And Roman, do not hesitate to get in touch again if there's anything more we can help you with. But with all that being said, keep growing.
No cheat days.
We'll see you in the next video.